Hey there, welcome to the Eurostep, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and the Eurostep Podcast Network. I am Ty Windisch. It's not lonely, because I am joined by my, ridiculously cool co-host, Rohan Katti. Effortlessly cool, Rohan. Rohan, how's it going?
Doing well. I get what you're saying, though.
It's quiet in the house.
You and me.
It's quiet in the house without the winning six boys, because as sadly we have to, if we haven't already come to grips with, the Bucks playoff run is over, which means our scramble mode to sit down and do an hour and a half every 2 days on 48 minutes of basketball is over for the time being. Not that we don't have a lot of content coming. We certainly do. We have some fun-ish stuff to talk about today, including NBA rule changes and a couple of key Bucks free agents going into the offseason. But it's a little quiet in the house. It's like when my girlfriend and I drop off the dog somewhere. It's nice to have some time off from being a dog dad, but it's a little too quiet in the house. You know what I mean? It's a little sad.
I get what you're saying, but it's also like you and I have not done a pod together, just you and me, since April 24th, which was game 4 of the Bulls series.
Nearly a month.
Yeah, and before that, it was a while. It was, literally just you and me. It was March 29th.
Wow.
So since March 29th, we have done 2 podcasts together, just you and me.
That's pretty wild. I would not have expected it to be that low, but it does make sense just because playoffs, it's all hands on deck, everyone on. Let's dissect the, whatever it is, the Grayson Allen rotations, everything else, but now that time of year is over for us, unfortunately. It's not over for everyone else. The Eastern Conference Finals started last night. I've got to be honest with you, I'm glad the Miami Heat came back and won, because if the Celtics beat them without Al Horford, without Marcus Smart in game 1, my FOMO for the Bucks not surviving that series would have been way, way worse. I still think the Bucks would do well against Miami, but I'm glad Miami won and didn't just roll over, because then I would be like, oh man, the Bucks really could have just waltzed into the finals, huh? But it's okay. It's over. That's not how it happened. It is what it is. C'est la vie.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird feeling. I feel like we didn't talk about this too much because we've had some time now to digest the fact that the Bucks season is actually over. How are you really feeling about it? Because you're still a little hung up on it. Okay.
No, I feel okay too. It was only during that game I did get when it started out, the Celtics started out up pretty big, and I was like, without 2 of their most important players, that could have been the Bucks. But honestly, I will say I didn't even plan to make this plug. I had UConn. I was listening to the Brewers game. MLB TV, they gave it out for free to everyone for some reason. I was one of the people.
Wait, they did?
Yeah, I think it was through T-Mobile. I'm a T-Mobile customer. Oh, no free ads. I'm a certain cell phone provider customer, and I got it free. And they won't let you watch most of the Brewers games because of the blackouts, but they let you listen to all of them. MLB is cool. I think you can also buy the audio pass for $20. It's a good deal. So I'm sitting there listening. I guess I could also just turn on a radio somewhere. I don't know where to find that. But I was listening to Euchre call the Brewer game, and they lost. But that helped me take my mind off of it too. But I will say, in addition to that, listen to Cruisin' for a Bruisin', our Brewers podcast. And I don't know. I think I've kind of come to peace with it too. I do really like the fact that they're going to have a much longer offseason. I think for Chris in particular, but really everyone on the team, that's going to be super important.
Yeah, also for us.
No. I would rather do a playoff pod every day.
I mean, yes, I do understand that those pods do bang.
No, I enjoy it. I enjoy this stuff too. I like the off season, but I don't know. I get so much energy from it.
I don't know. I think I tweeted this, but I sort of felt relieved once the Bucks season was over,
in a sense.
Because it's because we didn't have a break from covering high stakes basketball ties since 2020.
Yeah. No, I see your point. I don't know. I think
I feel like I'm gonna be like this for 2 days, and then
exactly.
I'm gonna have that.
It's a trap mentality. I've had this happen during stressful moments. I know other people have too. I've seen the takes of Oh, remember when they won 15 games? It was so much less stressful. It was less stressful because it sucked. It wasn't fun. Those days were not better. It's better when they're in close playoff series. Do not take this for granted. But I think I've certainly come to grips with it more, and I'm a lot more at peace. I'm ready for the Bucks to rampage through the league next season for sure.
Same here. And like sometimes things just don't go your way. If you're the Milwaukee Bucks, Chris Middleton gets hurt, the Celtics are on a tear. Sometimes things just don't go your way. That's the nature of the beast. You can either worry about it or, try to make things more than what they seem. This is really bad. Or you can just accept it and move on and go forward with your life,
And we know what the Bucks will do. They're gonna get better tomorrow. Watch the film.
Get better every day.
Get better every day. Build good habits, etc. Although hopefully I think taking a couple weeks off, or maybe even more than that, is probably going to help them get better every day too. So I'm glad the guys get to do that. Although Giannis will probably have less than most of the others, as we were talking about in our group chat yesterday. You actually pointed out, Rohan, Eurobasket in September. Greece has qualified. Last year, Giannis said he would do this. He hasn't spoken about it recently, I don't think, but I would expect that to happen. That'll shorten the offseason a little bit, but I mean, you're still talking about like a couple months off here, and Eurobasket is like 2 weeks, and then he still gets...
it's just a shade under over 2 weeks. Plus there's like preliminaries and stuff.
Well, and then there's another month off before the regular season picks up. So personally, I think I'm all for Giannis playing in that. I hope the Greek team, they just need to go full Antetokounmpo like the Bucks essentially did. Even the Bucks could lean more into that, but I just hope they do that so it's more fun to watch. But I'm not worried about it in terms of a rest thing because there's a lot of time until September. So I think that I think it's cool. I think we'll probably be waiting to watch Giannis by then anyway.
For sure. Like we're gonna be like begging for any sort of like Giannis basketball because it's like we haven't seen this for like a couple of years now. I know he didn't participate in the World Cup for Greece, Greece, the last competition for Greece, he did not participate. I know he said he wants to because it was like an injury thing.
Was that right after the bubble, or was that right after? Yeah,
I think so. To our knowledge, there's no injury to report for Giannis. He said he wants to play. We'll just go with that, and we'll cover that when it happens. We're still a long ways away from that happening, but I think we started off talking about like the Eastern Conference Finals. You're happy that the Heat came back. I still think Boston wins that series.
I do too. I think if that's what I'm saying though, like if Boston had won this game, it sounds like they may have Smart back for game 2, may have Horford back for game 3. If Boston took home court immediately without either of those guys, and we saw how important both of them are to the Celtics team, I would have just been like, okay, this Heat team is like not there. But Jimmy, credit to Jimmy. Jimmy's now become one of those guys where you just have to ignore the regular season. It just doesn't matter for him.
Except for last year.
Well, yeah, fair. Now I'm going to be sad again, Rohan.
Don't be sad. Just be happy that it happened,
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Yes.
Let's talk about the free agents.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about the Heat anymore.
Apologies to our Heat listeners. We know we have some. So the Bucks have some important free agents that they need to take care of. Ty. First and foremost, Thanasis Antetokounmpo has a player option. Then I guess we can get into the other guys.
Yeah.
Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton. Both have very small player options that they're very, very likely going to opt out of. And they've been important pieces for the Bucks. Bobby Portis has been like a key cog, especially this season. He was thrust into the starting lineup. He had to take a lot of the weight at center. He had to learn how to like play new styles of defense. And he really made sure like he was an important piece this season. And Pat Connaughton, I don't have to tell you, Ty, about Pat Connaughton's impact because I think we both agree at this point that no Buck should ever wear number 24 again. He's been that important for this team, especially during last season's title run. This season, you saw during the playoffs, by the end of that Celtics series, everyone was begging for him to start because it felt like in the minutes that he was not on the floor, the Bucks could not survive, especially with Chris Middleton out. He was the depth for the Milwaukee Bucks. It was him. It was Bobby Portis. Those were the only two players who really contributed off the bench, and like only two players who contributed who were not the stars realistically, aside from Brook Lopez, who I consider a star. But if you mess this up, if you're the Bucks, you've got a lot of searching to do because it's hard to find guys you can replace this.
Yeah, I think it's almost impossible to replace either of them to a certain extent in free agency because, you know, as we've discussed, the Bucks are deep in the tax to their credit. Could have been deeper, but they're deep in the tax. They won't have, like I see this every so often, oh, you can't re-sign Bobby, there won't be cap space. There will never be cap space. Like there's just not, there's no shot they have cap space at any point in the next 5 years, maybe a little less than 5.
As long as Giannis is on the team, they're not having cap space.
They'd have to make, pretty much you have to trade one of the big three guys for like no salary, which is not happening. I mean, even...
Yeah, because if that happens, the only way that happens is if you have a free agent star in the bag.
Yeah. Well, and even then, you'd be like a sign and trade or something. Like they'll never have real functional... Like you'd have to trade... Like if you've traded Lopez, Grayson, just for nothing, and you just had those three players and like cap charges, like they assess little charges for your open roster spots and renounced everybody, you still wouldn't have meaningful cap space because those three guys are like $100 million by themselves. So it's just not going to happen.
Even if you trade one of the stars, you're not a good team.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. Like, that's
not happening.
So
as long as Giannis is on the team, you're not having cap space, especially with Giannis on a supermax that has not kicked in yet.
Drew's contract is huge.
Drew's max. Chris is going to be interesting because he only has like 2 more years left.
Yeah, he's extension eligible now, so that could be an interesting piece of business for the Bucks this summer. Would not surprise me if they came to a deal, to be honest with you. But there won't be cap space, so that's the thing with Bobby and Pat. They're essentially, and we talked about this at the end of the Game 7 pod. We kind of did decisions on all their free agents. I think we're going to talk about their free agency more specifically here. But Bobby and Pat are essentially oh my goodness, use it or lose it guys for the Bucks. Like you can't pay somebody else what you could pay either. You can pay Pat whatever you want. They're not going to pay him 30% of the cap. Theoretically, they could because he's got 7 years of service and he has full bird rights. He's been a Buck for 4 years. So there's no restrictions.
Can you just imagine getting that Woj notification that Pat Connaughton has signed a full max to his team?
Imagine if it was the same cycle as last time where we all freak out about it and then somehow it becomes an underpay again.
Oh, he becomes like an all-NBA player.
Yeah, and Pat is just literally Paul George next year. And we're like, oh, I guess they should sign him even more next time.
It's like my Grayson Allen take that actually happens to Pat Connaughton.
Yeah. I'm not going to bet on that one. And Bobby Portis, they can offer him, we don't know, I think, the exact number yet. It's early bird rights. It becomes like the average salary around the league, which I think is expected to be around $10.5 million, somewhere in that range. So, up to 4 years, they can get him like 45-ish, probably that comes out to, because you can still build in 5% raises for him. I think it's 8% with bird rights. So again, Pat Steele could be gargantuan. It won't be, but it could be. But the most they could pay a non-Bobby Portis or Pat Connaughton player is their TPMLE, taxpayer mid-level exception. They get one of those. Last year, they infamously used part on George Hill and part on Khaled Zykis, right? I think.
Yes.
That's how they split it up? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would expect them. It's an interesting conversation if they'll use all of it or not. I think we can probably dive more into that when we're closer to the actual start of free agency. But that's like 6-point-something million in the first year. So it's like, you can get a pretty decent vet on that usually. We'll see what the Bucks do. But you cannot pay someone as much as you could pay Bobby or Pat. So
did someone say John Wall?
He has a player option of like $50 million or something. So
I mean, like, assuming he gets bought out.
Oh, yeah, then I suppose. That would be fun. That would be really fun. I've been in on that for a while.
Same. I mean, like, look what happened to Al Horford when you don't play for a couple of years.
I mean, honestly, it's a good point. And also just like, even when last time he played, he wasn't like terrible. He wasn't prime John Wall, but he was like 18 and 8.
His rim frequency was not like it wasn't like great, especially like considering how much he relies on getting to the rim. But he was still able to make plays. He was still able to make shots. He just wasn't as good of a finisher at the rim, which is expected at his age. But
yeah,
okay, we can't talk ourselves into John. It's too early.
Too late. I'm already all in. But essentially, the biggest moves I think again the Bucks will be able to make are small contracts, trades, and keeping their own players. So let's focus on the keeping their own players because we don't know much. All we know is, God, who opted into his contract yesterday? And it was
Derek
hilarious.
Favors.
Derek Favors. We know Derek Favors is off the board. We don't know the whole board yet, though. So let's start with Bobby. So, the Bucks are limited in what they can offer him. I think my inclination going in, not sourced, is if the Bucks offer at or very close to the max they can offer him, they can probably retain him. There are 5 teams with cap space. I don't know if any would prioritize adding Bobby Portis. Maybe with significant cap space, I should say. Here's what Bobby said in the exit interviews, basically about free agency. Quote, he said a lot of nice things. I'm not going to read the whole quote, but he said he got better, gets better every day. It doesn't take it for granted. It's a great feeling. But then, quote, but the offseason, man, I don't really have a comment on it. That's on the organization and my agent to figure that out. I don't really discuss numbers or contracts or none of that. I love it here. I love being a Buck, but it definitely comes down to them making it work. Which I think is fair.
It is fair. It's completely fair. Like, he's a player who's, for the second consecutive season, has taken a pay cut to be with the Milwaukee Bucks, which is just also incredible. Just saying that is awesome. Like, the way this team has come, how far this team has come is incredible. But that's understandable. You are like in the prime of your NBA career, and this is the biggest. I don't know what Bobby Portis is going to do after he's done playing, but it's like typically this is the biggest moneymaker of your entire life. This is setting up generational wealth for you, your family, your loved ones, your friends. Like, this is it. This is your time to maximize that. If you're Bobby Portis and you want to go get paid, I understand that. I completely understand that. If someone offered me $10 million to just do anything, I'd say yes to that. Compared to like 5 million or something, you'd say yes to the 10 million because like Bobby, he's been a part of a championship winning team. He is an NBA champion. He's accomplished what he wants to do. Sure, he can accomplish more. He can get more of that when he's with the Bucks. The Bucks have the potential to be a dynasty if things all go well. But like, if he's got to make money, he's got to make money. I understand that.
So, as I alluded to earlier, there are, according to Spot Track right now, 5 teams with what they call projected practical cap space. So this is after waiving slight or non-guarantees, renouncing big expiring contracts, etc. Orlando, $27 million. Detroit, $27 million. Indiana, $25 million. San Antonio, $22 million. Portland, $21 million. I actually think Portland might be the scariest there to go after Bobby Portis.
I think they're going to try and trade for Jeremy Grant.
Maybe. Everyone keeps trying to do that. If they keep Dame, if Dame doesn't force his way to Milwaukee, which
he could be the TPMLE,
if that no, he can't. But if that's the way that Bobby has to go to Portland, I think we'll get over it somehow.
After they buy him out.
Stop talking about superstars getting bought out, Rohan.
I love how you just called John Wall a superstar.
No, you've said this about Gobert too.
Oh yeah,
you said this about Gobert and Dame, and I say this because
Brandon Jennings agreed with me.
There are people listening, like Brandon Jennings, who go, "Oh yeah, that's an option." I think they're going to sign Damian Lillard when he gets bought out. That doesn't happen.
Ty, you're assuming that I have authority.
You do. People listen. Millions of people listen, and they say Rohan's the scientist. Rohan is the smart one. Whatever Rohan said goes. But I don't know. I wouldn't really see Orlando or probably Detroit. The thing is, it feels like DeAndre Ayton is going to be the guy a lot of these teams are chasing. So I don't know.
I think especially Detroit. I don't know if Orlando's going to necessarily do that.
No, they have a
considering that they're-
million centers. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Considering that, yeah, they have a million centers, and two, they're probably going to get like a forward as the
Yeah.
number one overall pick.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why are you paying big money to a forward in free agency?
Yeah, and I think San Antonio has kind of a lot of power forwards. They still have Pirtle. Indiana, I have no read for what they're gonna do. It feels like they want to go younger though, so I don't know if they would throw a bag at Bobby Portis. Like I think Miles Turner probably gets moved this offseason if I had to guess. Maybe even in a sign and trade for Ayton. I know that was discussed at the deadline according to Lowe. But all this to say, like, and I think we'll get to Pat in a second. Pat was much less ambiguous about wanting to stay. And I think some of the reason for that is outside of those 5 teams, you're pretty much looking at a bigger MLE or the same MLE the Bucks have. And at that point, there's not that much competition. So I think the ball will be in Milwaukee's court to keep both of these guys, Pat and Bobby. What do you think that they will re-sign, one or both?
I think one.
Really? You think just one?
I think they're keeping Pat.
So the luxury tax, if they keep both and don't dump salary, is like $60 million. Just the tax bill. I think I saw someone say. I don't know if that's confirmed. It would be a lot. There's still so much in there.
Yeah, that seems a little low considering they paid like 50 something this year.
Did they pay 50 something this year?
I think so.
Oh, then maybe.
Or I might be completely wrong, but
well, I mean, Serge is coming off the books, and that kind of equals Grayson's extension. I don't know. Regardless, yeah, it would be a lot.
I still think they keep one. I think I don't want this to happen. I want them to keep both, but I have a gut feeling. Again, no sources, no nothing for this. I have a gut feeling that Bobby is going to get like they're not going to
PJ'd.
He's going to get PJ'd.
I just can't tell. I do think that is probably the most likely option, especially after the postseason, where I think Pat for the second straight postseason was quite good.
Oh, yeah, if they don't keep Pat, we riot.
Well, especially let's just fold this in now that we're going to talk about both. Here's what Pat said. This was the Bucks made this into a hype video. It was a good call. Milwaukee's home for me. I've been fortunate to be a part of this organization and come at a time where we weren't championship contenders and help us become that, and I don't take that lightly. I try to look at things a little bit differently. Look at things other than just the monetary value that it can literally bring. Competing for championships, playing alongside guys like Giannis and Drew and Chris, playing for our owners here with my bobblehead. Or whose bobblehead is who? They have
Fagan. He had a Fagan.
Oh, he has their. Well, Fagan's not an owner, but same difference. And Coach Bud and John Horst. And I think they've done a really good job here in Milwaukee to create a family-like culture, and that's something I've always been about. And it's not just about looking at dollars and cents. It's about looking at the organization as a whole and looking at my teammates. And these guys have become like brothers to me. How do I find ways to continue to improve my game so that hopefully I can improve our chances of winning a championship here in Milwaukee next year? It just sounds like he's staying and they're just going to work out a number. I don't even know what number to put out there. I've seen people saying, you don't think Pat would get $10 million on the open market, do you? I think 100%.
I think he would. I think I was more. That's the number I was going to say, around 10 to
If it's
12.
under 10, I think it's a huge bargain.
Yeah, I think so. Because like you're paying Grayson Allen like a shade under 10 a year, and that was considered like a below market value deal, and I still think it's a below market value deal for Grayson.
KCP signed 4 for $40 right after leading the Lakers to a championship. Not leading. But what I meant to say, right after basically having the Connaughton role. That's what KCP was.
He was the third best player on that title team.
Yeah, he did not lead them.
That was hilarious.
He did not lead them. But he basically
move out of the way, LeBron and AD. This is KCP's team. KCP should have been Finals MVP.
3 years, $40 million, $30 million guaranteed. So 10 in the last year is non-guaranteed. That is actually this upcoming season. So KCP could hit the wire too. I wouldn't expect it, but he only has $5 million guaranteed going into next year. But anyway, like 4 years, $40 million when the cap was lower. Like I think, or 3 years, $40 million was KCP's deal. Like I think Pat could easily expect that, and it's harder because there's no cap space. But I mean, a full 4 year mid-level, not taxpayer, the full mid-level gets you probably pretty close to 4 years, 40-some million, I would imagine. So
around there, yeah.
So yeah, I think if you get Pat for like 4 years, like $36 million or something like that, that's a crazy deal.
I think that That would be a very, very good deal. And I think that's fair. It's fair market value, especially like what I said up top. Take a look at what he's contributed to this team over the years.
Yeah.
He's worth that. Plus, like, he's worth whatever. Like, how much has he been? What's his contract been like the last couple of years?
His player option is like 5.7
5.7.
Yeah.
5.7 million. It's ridiculous how underpaid he is.
He's made like an average of $5 million per year on that deal, I think. And then before that, it was like all very, very small contracts.
Yeah. And there's a track record for this as well. Like, look at what the Bucks did with Brook Lopez. Like, in the first 2 years of his tenure with the Bucks, the first 2 years. It's been a while.
I think just one, right?
No, because he signed. He signed the biannual, right?
Oh, was it no? I thought that was Robin.
Oh, it was Robin. I think they mid-leveled him.
They might have mid-leveled him because I think they didn't bring in anyone that summer, did they?
I mean, they brought in Pat.
No cap space. They opened up cap space.
Oh, what do you know?
Yeah,
but he was underpaid for what he brought to the team. Is my point. And then when he was up for a new deal, they paid him probably more than what he was doing.
They first brought him in biannual. That's what it was.
Oh, it was right. Let's go.
But then when they re-signed him, they used cap space.
Okay, makes sense. So there is a track record for this team for actually like paying guys to make up for value that they contributed but did not get paid for. Yeah. Which is why, again, I think that they're just going to go with one guy, and that one guy is going to be Pat.
I think honestly, if it's 4 for 48 for Pat, I would not even be unhappy at that.
Yeah, it's like 12 mil.
Yeah, I think that's honestly pretty fair.
I think that's fine. Yeah. I think it's fair.
If it's anything less, if it's less than 10 mil average a season, I think it's like a tremendous, like Pat is really helping out the Bucks at that point.
Yeah, and who this is the guy who he has off-court businesses as well.
We joke about those. We make fun of him. If that helps him to take less on this next contract, buy up the whole city, Pat.
Buy
it up.
If I speak, I'm in trouble. Love you, Pat. But yeah, do you think they keep both, or do you think they keep one?
It's so tough. I really wonder how much stock they're going to put in this playoff run. Because as Bobby told Chris Herring he doesn't know ball yesterday, by the way, or a couple of days ago. I don't know if you saw that, but
didn't see that. Shout out Chris Herring. I love Chris.
Shout out Chris Herring too. But I think Bobby was right a little bit. Not that Chris Herring doesn't know ball, but that his defense was not the issue. His offense was the issue. But the issue is there was still an issue, and it's not like his defense was PJ Tucker level, and then his offense just wasn't there. His defense was fine, but his offense wasn't. And that's like, it's encouraging on the one hand that he has improved defensively. On the other hand, they could not afford 5 straight subpar, maybe even more than that, level games offensively from Bobby Portis. That's just not what they need from him. And clearly he held up better than Grayson Allen. But I do wonder if a certain party looks at this and goes, if we are limited by the tax, even if, literally could the Bucks sign both and use the full non-taxpayer and do more? Yes. Functionally, will they? No. If it costs Bobby and moving on from Grayson to target a true 3-and-D big wing player in free agency, is that maybe the right idea? Potentially. I would prefer them to just keep Pat and Bobby, even if it does mean you spend less in free agency and then just salary dump Grayson Allen. But
you don't even salary dump. Like, you can use Grayson Allen and George Hill's salary to try and go get someone else.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to add a lot to those two.
Oh yeah, you have to
both negative contracts, but
you got picks in the Dante trade for a reason.
I think that is very true. I think they are going to be active again this offseason. But I think they will for sure keep Pat. I think a lot of that is going to come down to Pat just being like, yeah, I just want to be here, which makes a huge difference. I actually do think they will keep Bobby. And then they'll make they'll make a move somewhere else. They'll probably make moves somewhere else regardless in terms of dumping Grayson and Hill. I do think if Bobby receives a competitive offer, though, that's when that's when I think it's more likely he goes. I think they keep both because I don't know what Bobby's market is, and there's so few teams with cap space. But if somebody does come up to Bobby Portis and say, hey, 4 years, $45 million, I'm not sure he's a Buck next season.
Yeah, especially if you can like sort of make that into a sign and trade.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's really sticky, right? It's hard to do.
Yeah, we know the Bucks and sign and trades.
Well, they wouldn't be hard cap though because they're sending the guy, right?
Yes.
So that's helpful, unless they're taking back a free agent, in which case it becomes...
Yeah, unless it's a double sign and trade.
Yeah.
Which is, again, that gets icky.
It would be fascinating if they were going to bring in a big money player and they did sign and trade Portis and also send Grayson and Hill. Can you do
Damian
that?
Lillard is right there.
Jeremy Grant is right there too.
Ooh, now you're talking. Now you're speaking my language.
I think you're giving up your first this year if you do that, and I really don't want to give up the first this year. But holy crap, would they be stacked on the wings with Pat, Chris, and Jeremy Grant?
Ooh.
I also think that's just your starting lineup now. I think Pat is now your two guard, unless you can get John Wall. Unless you can get John Wall on that.
No, I'd prefer John Wall as a backup point guard.
That's fair. That would be a squad right there. I think that's a pie in the sky trade.
Drew, Pat, Chris, Jeremy Grant, Giannis.
Yeah.
You're bringing Brooke and John Wall off the bench?
Well, okay, then Pat's coming off the bench. I think you start big still, but then I think your small ball...
that's really big.
Your small ball lineup is crazy.
That's an insane lineup. Drew, Chris, Jeremy Grant, Giannis, Brooke.
Yeah.
Oh
I mean, if that's how you lose Bobby, obviously I think we'll all be sick if he just walks and signs a PJ type deal. If you sign and trade him though, and it's a move where you can improve at these clear positions of weakness, then I think it's a lot more. I mean, I guess the real question with Bobby Portis that we're kind of skirting around, what is the fit like on this team? And is it ideal? And I'm not sure it is.
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine, but I don't think it's ideal.
I mean, they make it work, but there's so much upside to that because you have another shot maker, another guy who will go and get his own
theoretically.
Shots. Theoretically,
that's therein lies the issue.
Well, here's the thing: we've seen it happen before, though. We can't take one series and then throw out everything that's happened in the past. You know, like look at him during the freaking NBA Finals, right? Like that's less than a year ago.
I was just going to. I want to actually look at what the stats were in that because I don't know if the stats
were ridiculous, but I know that he proved to be a better front court pairing with Giannis than Brook Lopez did.
Yes, in that series,
and in the Boston series,
Phoenix, he shot 43.8% from three, scored 7 points a game. So yeah, definitely a lot more effective. Actually shot worse from two than three. All those long twos. Come on, Bobby.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
he's got to get in the gym with Lethal Shooter again.
I forgot Game 7, he did put up 16. Game 3, 11. It's not Game 7, Game 5. All right, 6.
Oh, okay.
6. Game 5 was 9. Yeah, he had some much better offensive games.
Like he was there at the highest of stakes. So I don't think we can necessarily hold this one.
No,
series
you're right.
Against him.
You're right. I think they should keep him unless you can make a Jeremy Grant move.
Unless you can make a clear upgrade.
Yeah.
Undisputed upgrade.
So then, I mean, let's just make this a full, very early Bucks. I guess it's like the Bucks, what the Bucks should do with their own players. I think you almost have to trade Grayson. If we're going to assume that they don't want to have the Grayson cap hit plus a new Pat contract plus a new Bobby contract.
Or wait till the trade deadline.
Yeah, but the issue, I don't even know if they can do that because you'd have to just get off money without taking money back then to actually lessen the bill. And that feels harder to do mid-season.
Unless they just don't care.
Unless they suddenly do not care.
That look you gave me. Go check it out on YouTube if you're not.
Just sour. The word to describe it is sour. They have not demonstrated previously that they do not care. It would be a welcome change, but we have not seen it done. I just think if it's you need to trade Grayson to keep both of Bobby and Pat, or even to just keep Pat and then use the full taxpayer mid-level, I would want to dump him either way. My only hope is that you can do that without burning this year's first. Which I think they could. I think they could.
They could. Again, I agree with you. I don't want them to burn this year's first because they need young players at some point.
It's got to be a Jeremy Grant level guy for me at this point.
So Jeremy Grant.
Oh, I don't know. We haven't. We'll do many more pods about free agency and stuff. I think we should probably do one where we just look at like targets that we'd like to see them go after, free agents and trade targets. I'm sure there's more guys I would be interested in, but I'm not like, a Grayson level flyer is not worth this first to me. I'll put it that way.
That's fair.
I know you weren't sold on trading Grayson right after Game 7. How do you feel now?
I'm still not completely sold on it.
Yeah, I mean, I get your argument. I think there's some.
I do think there's potential.
But I just look at it as I just don't see a universe where they keep Pat, Bobby, and Grayson.
Yeah, that's fair.
And we know our ranking, I think, is pretty obvious. Pat 1, Bobby 2, Grayson 3. So that's where I'm coming. That's where I'm approaching it.
Yes, I agree with that, which is why I think they're not going to keep Bobby.
Yeah, which is, I think that's very likely as well.
Because Grayson is probably going to be a lesser contract than what Bobby gets.
I don't know.
I think so.
What is Grayson looking at next year? It starts off in, it's not, is it not? Oh, yeah, 9.3 with some incentives and bonuses. I don't know.
It'll be close.
2-year extension.
Be close for sure.
9.35 per season. Yeah, that would not be hard.
We clown not we. I actually really like that contract. This is the hill I'm choosing to die on, not the George Hill I'm choosing to die on. He should be gone. But I'm really sticking it out for Grayson Allen on this one. I'm really sticking by my guns there.
That's fair.
But it's also a tradable contract, which the Bucks do not have otherwise.
Yeah, so trade it this offseason.
Or at the deadline.
Sure. But I think
who knows what happens in season.
I think if they trade at the deadline, then they're probably not retaining Portis because there's so much chance that you get stuck holding the bag then.
And that's what I think is going to happen.
That's fair. I'm probably speaking on wants more than things.
That's fair. Again, I want them to keep Pat and Bobby. Let me be clear. I want them to do that.
Yeah. And then trade Hill, who's just $4 million. It's tough.
Can you get who will take a George Hill?
How many second-round picks does it take to turn George Will into Kenny Hustle? We're back. George Hill to Kenny Hustle.
I think you can get picks from the Lakers.
They do love old guys.
Plus, like another ball handler?
Theoretically.
Hey, I'm trying to convince them.
He probably, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if someone just took him and they just go, yeah, he looked bad, but he just clearly wasn't healthy, and we trust in George Hill.
Yeah, he was not healthy.
The Bucks might do that too.
Yeah, they probably will.
I would not be surprised if they kept him. And I wouldn't be that upset either.
I'd be a little upset. Again, it wouldn't be that big a deal to me.
It would be a bummer if they kept him but then let Jevon walk because they're keeping him.
Yes, I agree with that.
I think for a Jevon contract, it would probably, we've seen this recipe. If they do re-sign him, it'll probably be 2 years player option, build up those consecutive years for bird rights if the interest is there on both sides. I think he's not the most important guy they basically have around on vet min, but he's pretty close.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We haven't really talked about Wes that much.
I think Wes is back.
He wants to be, it sounds like. And
I think it's probably a vet min.
I don't know what else the Bucks would have to see to not. I mean, I think he pretty much proved as much as he could possibly prove, given his defense and the fact that he was one of the best $5 on offense in the Celtics series.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, he was useful on both ends. I think
he was consistently good. He was never a detriment to what the Bucks were doing.
No,
he was always a contributor.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. So
I think he's back on a vet min probably.
or like
Probably
they could do like non-bird, I think, and go a little bit higher with it.
yeah, but then you need like space or part of the taxpayer mid level to do that.
No, I mean non-bird exception too.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't know if it's even would be higher than his vet min. It's like 120% of his last deal, but I mean, also, if you can bring in a player you like without using the full TPMLE and you can give some to Wes, but because he has so many years in the league, his vet min is actually kind of high. So yeah, I mean, if it's like a 2-year vet min player option, that'd be great too.
It would be. I think that's probably what's going to happen. There's mutual interest on both sides.
Yeah.
I think it'll get done.
So
Thanasis is back.
If he wants to be, yeah.
100%.
So then let's look at the roster. So Giannis Christou, obviously. Let's go with our consensus. I'll give you Grayson, and let's go with your version. I do think it's probably more likely. Giannis, Christou, Brook, all stay. None should be traded unless Dame is breaking down your door. Grayson Allen, meh. Pat Connaughton, probably getting paid a little more around Grayson. That's a good one. Let's just say George Hill stays. Wes. And then Thanasis, Rajon Tucker, Luka Vildoza. What do we like and not like about the roster?
I don't like that there's work to do.
Is there that much?
I think there is.
What's the biggest need? And I didn't say Jevon Carter. Yeah, probably wings.
I mean, like, what is your current wing depth at that? Pat.
Yeah, well, you have Pat, Chris, Grayson, who's not really a wing.
2 of those are starting.
Yeah.
You need depth.
Rajon Tucker.
You need depth fast.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing there is, do you like they're gonna have limited tools. The thing is though, like, do you feel that much better if they bring back Bobby in that case? He's kind of a wing on the Bucks, but not really.
At least he's depth.
True.
I'd love for Bobby to be back in that situation.
Yeah,
because you have playable guys off the bench.
If they keep Bobby and not Grayson, if they're able to do that, which I think we both agree would be ideal, then do you shift what they would need most then?
Yeah, then you need guards quick.
Yeah. You're not trusting in Luka Vildoza?
I'd love for Luka to take over the league.
I am excited to watch him. I hope he plays next regular season.
Yeah, I hope so too. Like, especially if they can get if they actually get a wing with their pick this year, that wing has a chance to play.
I still want the big guy. I think they need a Lopez successor. They need to start lining that up. But I also think with the way the roster is, they should go best player available and take whoever they think is the best mix between contributing pretty soon, but also I don't think they should home run swing. Like, I think they should find good players. You know what I was thinking? They would have been so much better off if they could draft Malcolm Brogdon right now versus whatever it was 6 years ago.
Has it really been that long?
He was 2016, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, 6 years ago this year. Because
we're old.
Like Brogdon, and I'm not saying like literally draft 30-year-old Brogdon, but having a cost-controlled guard who's ready to play rotation minutes for the next 3-4 years, that would be such a huge relief. Like, I hope they draft 3 guys this year. I don't know if they have that many picks, but
I want them to take some players,
yeah.
Don't take someone with a little bit of potential.
Take someone with a real pick. Like, if they trade 24 down to like 45 and 55 again, like they've basically done for the last 2 drafts now, they've just said we're only going to use picks in the bottom quarter of the draft. Your hit rate is just so low. Like, literally the last 4 picks they've used are 60, 54, 60, 45, right?
Yeah.
That's Khaled Zykis, Mamu, Merrill, Wara. I think that's the last 4 guys they've drafted.
It is. That's the last 4 guys they've
drafted. And what did they have, 31? Like, I wish they would have used 31 and gotten whoever, all the players available. That was such a good draft. I really hope they use 24, and I would love to see them pick again in the top 40.
Or like go back to 2 seasons ago. Remember they gave up the pick. I know like whatever's going on with him, but they gave up the pick that became Kevin Porter Jr. to get off Tony Snell's salary.
Tony Snell's a free agent.
I'd love that so much.
That would be good. That would be, if that's a vet min, then you're feeling a lot better about your wins.
That's a home run.
Yeah, that'd be a great vet min. If they get Tony Snell on vet min and John Wall on TPMLE, we're cooking. I'm obsessed with John Wall.
He might, if he gets bought out, he's can sign to the vet min, you know? John Wall can.
I find it unlikely, but yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, they would need to trade back in. They would have had 54, but the league took it away.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, this is the year the league took away their pick.
This is the year where the league prevented a player from getting drafted. 2
players, actually, because the Phillies pick would move up. It was traded to Miami, and they took away a Miami pick too for for whatever that was.
Where they actually found evidence of tampering.
Yeah.
Instead of the Bucks case, where they said they found no evidence of tampering. I'm still not over that. So now that's ridiculous.
Washington gets the 54th pick instead of the 56th pick from Dallas because 2 picks got given away or taken away.
I hate that so much. I'm mad, Ty. I'm mad, Ty.
But I would like to see them actually, even if it costs a future second, or if maybe you can get a mid-second round pick for Grayson Allen. Maybe some team is like, you know what, we'll take a chance. It's a very tradable contract, whatever. But like they have incoming picks in 23, 4, and 5. I would like to see them like, where is the first OKC? 34 overall in this draft. OKC literally does not have roster spots. And we've seen them have to basically give away second round picks. Like call up OKC and be like, do you want our 2028
Do you want George Hill again?
Literally, George Hill and 2 seconds for 34 overall would be an amazing trade for the Bucks.
It would be. Just throw in Kenny Hustle while you're at it.
Now I think we're getting a little carried away. I mean, they could offer.
Now we're getting carried away.
Like if they traded, let's even take out George Hill for now. They could give up their 27 and 8 seconds for 34, unprotect both, and let OKC continue to speculate on other teams' future demise. And then free up the roster spot for OKC this year. Like that would be, then you're picking 24 and 30, what did I say, 34? Is that it? Something like that? Yeah. Then you have 2 top 35 picks. I think you probably get at least 1 quality rotation player who's now going to be cost controlled. Like that's the home run for me if we're talking draft.
It would be nice. They just need to make picks at some point. Solid picks.
Especially if they are able to keep Pat and Bobby, this would be a good year to do it because you don't have that immediate rotational needs. You have some, but they're not. It's not like you have 4 guys under contract and you need to put all of your energy toward these vet min guys.
Plus, look at the guys on the roster that are available to mentor these young players.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Imagine you get a young guard and Drew Holiday is the one teaching him the ropes.
Yeah,
or showing him the ropes. Imagine you get a wing and it's Pat Connaughton showing him how to play in a system.
I will say, even if you let's say they dump George and Grayson and keep Jevon and Bobby, then you still have Drew, Jevon Carter, Luka Vildoza. 2 guard gets a little shaky. Let's just say Pat and Wesley Matthews, some order. The 3 is then Chris, kind of blank. The 4 is Giannis and Bobby. The 5 is Brook Lopez. It's like, yeah, you're not a complete team, but you are 8 deep kind of by default there. Then I think, you're going to take some stabs on vets. You're going to hopefully use that TPMLE. But you have some roster spots. We're assuming War is just gone. We didn't really talk about that, but I just don't see why.
Have fun in Houston.
Yeah, it's certainly some tools there. A driven player, but
if he couldn't have proven it this year, he's not going to prove it.
Exactly, this was the year, and I think you'd rather draft somebody who's a little younger and more cost controlled to try and take the same shot on,
and who can play defense.
Yeah, and who can play defense. But then the back of roster guys, it's like Mamu and Rajon Tucker and probably Luka Vildoza, but you have a lot of open spots still at that point, even if you roster Lindell. So draft 2 guys, sign 2 or 3 old guys who want to play in Milwaukee for cheap. I think that is a good offseason.
Someone say Boogie?
Ooh. I wouldn't hate that. But I mean, again, I almost would hate it though. I would love for them to get a younger center.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's like if you have to sign like vets, like you have to fill out your roster spot with vet mins, DeMarcus wouldn't be a bad option.
No, I would rather them go wings, I think, but we know Boogie can still play, so that's more
Plus
than some of these guys.
You need a backup center at some point.
Yeah. I would just prefer a young guy, but they're not easy to come by.
Exactly. That's the problem.
But if
Should we talk about some general league stuff now?
Yeah, let's do it. Real quick. The midseason tournament. Everyone seems to hate it. I don't mind it.
I don't understand why. Here's my thing on the midseason tournament.
Yeah.
Again, I think there's this misconception that it's adding games. That's not likely going to be the case. It's going to be incorporating regular season games, which is what the cup style things happen in like soccer or football in Europe or the rest of the world, realistically. That's how it happens. They take like league games and transform them. Like think about it in like college basketball, for instance. Like they have that, what is that? The Caribbean tournament?
The Maui Invitational.
Yeah, they have in-season tournaments that are built off of regular season games.
Yeah.
Take that sort of concept, apply it to the NBA with actual incentives.
Yep.
It's good high-stakes basketball for free.
Well, and my take is, let's pull 6 games off the schedule, the typical regular season, and have all the teams play at least 5 times in the tournament. I think you should probably not do like full 6, and I'd rather see them pull more games off. So then it's like you're not adding any games. You may even take off a game or 2. I doubt they would do that, but let's just assume. And the NBA has, outside of the All-Star, so in terms of like regular season NBA basketball, there's literally 2 appointment viewing games every year. Like there's marquee matchups people look forward to, but like before, if you don't know the schedule, you know Christmas and you know Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And those are the only 2 days all year where you're like, yeah, there's going to be primetime basketball on either all day or like I know that day there will be. It's like, yeah, you know, Wednesday is ESPN or whatever it is. Tuesday is TNT. They have those matchups lined up, but it's not the same. And if you're like, if imagine going into the season, you know about those 2 days and you also know we're going to get wall-to-wall basketball on like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or something like that, right? And there's however many days it would be, however many games. But there's going to be games on all day, and there are going to be a lot of national TV games, everything else. That would be cool. And I think there's not enough of stuff like that. And everyone's like, oh, the players aren't going to show up. They're not going to try. I mean, I don't know. They try an all-star. And now, at least by the end, with Elam ending.
Look at what the play-in did.
Yeah. Well, the play-in, it's not going to be as high stakes as the play-in. I think that's...
I know. But it's also like people care so much about the play-in now.
Yeah.
When the original concept of it got this same
people
sort of pushback.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, what's the issue? They're just going to get rolled in the first round anyway. Do you see that debate now? Now people just love the play-in.
Yeah.
It's a good format. It's just because, like you said, Ty, if you're worried about players not caring, that's the entirety of the regular season anyway.
Right.
That's going to happen anyway.
That's why I think you need to make it.
They've de-incentivized the regular season so much that you need to have some reason to show up. Let's say that there is no reason to show up. Like they don't get interested. It's just a normal regular season then.
Yeah, I think the worst case. That's why I will say it. If they do it outside of the regular season and they're just like, hey, these games don't count in the standings or for stats, but you get like everyone on the winning team gets $1 million, it's going to be terrible. But I don't think they're going to do it that way.
No, they're not going to do it that way. That would be a very bad way to do it. You have to just incorporate the regular season. Yeah. Why would the NBA want to do that?
Like, why you either then have to take away all the rest strides they've made, which I don't see them doing, or lengthen the regular season further. Which I think is because you'd have to build in a lot of time if you were going to do a whole tournament that does not count for those games and still play 82. Like that's going to take a while to build back out. So yeah, I think you build it into the regular season. The idea, and this isn't until like 23, 24 or something, but the ideal timing for me is probably, I think it'd be cool in like March.
I think March. I did think it'd be cool around December.
See, I don't know.
January.
Maybe January. I think for December, it's still kind of early season excitement. Plus, you have Christmas that same month.
Yeah, that's why I pushed it.
I think January, yes, you could make the argument there too. I think March is truly the dog days of the season. I think that's when it kind of starts to get.
But that's
less
when you get people like players and teams not wanting to care for that because they don't want to mess up their lottery. They don't want to take risks for like players because that's when rest starts to happen for the playoffs.
No, you're right. It's probably
you're not going to
January.
want to mess with that. You want to do it in the prime heat of the regular season when no one cares. So January.
Do you know what too? If a lot of the league were together, there'd probably be. I bet there'd be some transaction buzz when it happened. Because I know, like, for baseball, the winter meetings, they all have to get together in the off season. And there's, like, a lot of deals that happen then because, like, all the GMs are in the same places. I wonder if that could happen, too. That doesn't really happen that much with All-Star before the trade deadline, but it did with Boogie a couple years ago. Who knows? But
that's why they moved the trade deadline before.
Yeah, it's a good point. But I think it'd be fun. I'm all for it. Why not? I don't care. It's better than...
It's fun.
It's better than sending the Bucks to Abu Dhabi.
Oh, my God, yes. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're doing that.
I can. If
I don't want to believe they're doing it.
If they are taking the hush money, they better keep Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton.
Yes, man. Exactly. You can't take the Abu Dhabi payment and then not keep guys.
Either cancel the game or sign both. Those are the only equitable options. Or cancel the game and sign both, but we all know that's
the most equitable option. That is the most equitable option.
I live in a reasonable world.
That's fair. Unfortunately.
Yeah. The last thing though, the exciting one. We saved the best for last here. Take fouls.
Oh,
I believe this is for next year. They're looking at taking out take fouls, and the obvious solution, if there's a take foul, one free throw, and the offensive team gets possession. Hallelujah. This should not be controversial. This should have been done during the season. I know they never do that, but finally, Nate McMillan is in shambles. The Hawks might go 2-80.
They might. They're basically changing it to the same thing as like an away from the ball foul.
Yeah.
Away from the play foul.
Yeah. Is that only late in games, right? Or is that at any point? Yeah.
Late. Yeah. It's to correct for hack a shack.
Yeah.
Plus, it's like if you're like doing an inbounds or something and the ball isn't in play and there's a foul,
that's the same deal. Yeah. No,
you're giving a reward for that because it's taking away from a lot of fun. It's taking away from a lot of points. It's penalizing yourself like for not playing defense. You're like, yeah, I don't want to play defense. Let's just take a foul here.
Yeah,
it's just not fun.
It's not basketball.
It's not. It's disgusting. It's pusillanimous basketball.
There we go. Boom. Vocab list busted out.
Am I wrong? Like,
no, it's terrible. It's about time, and I'm glad they should just do it right away. Do it for next season. It sounds like they will, and it's a slam dunk. And I think my take was, if you're going to take out the take foul, I'll be invested in your tournament, even if it's dumb. Year one, I'll give it one full year. Even if the format is stupid, I'll be like, yeah, go midseason tournament because they've earned it by taking out the take foul.
But also, one last thing on the midseason tournament. Yeah. It's going to take a few years for it to actually like.
Yeah, it's like 23, 24, I think they're aiming for.
No. Like I'm saying, like once it's implemented, it's going to take a while for people to get used to it. Yeah. So you can't judge it by like the first year.
Just like play-in, yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, take foul, hallelujah. Giannis is going to average 50 a game.
35 next year for Giannis?
That's honestly on the table.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's probably the most take fouls.
I think he gains the most from this.
He definitely does.
I wonder if teams will still take foul him. Probably sometimes out of habit more than anything. It's not a good decision. I mean, even if your half-court offense sucks like the Bucks, you're still going to get, like, 2 points per possession if you get the free throw and a half-court set. So
exactly.
Giannis, although I mean Giannis in transition might actually be close to that. Can anyone take the free throw? I think so.
Is it anyone?
I think it is.
What is it in the G League?
I don't remember. You don't see it that much in the G League. Guys just dunk.
Yeah, because they took away the take foul.
Exactly.
So maybe they
I think it's anyone though. I think it's like And that makes more sense.
Yeah, like anyone can do it off an inbounds.
Yeah. So I think that's how it is. Well, and that's if you hack a Shaq too late, it's anyone, right? Off the ball foul. It's not the player. Yeah. So I'm sure it will be.
So you can just do So maybe Giannis won't score, or maybe they're just going to be dissuaded from doing the take foul, so they just
so Giannis will score like 4 more points a game on dunks, and Chris will score
more than 4,
or Chris will score a few more points per game on free throws,
or both.
Yeah.
Okay, no los dos.
Bucks repeat is just it's lining up great so far.
Yeah, the NBA is actually in. No, it's not a repeat.
Title defense.
You're trying to get back on the mountaintop.
Yeah.
Is that what we got?
I think it is. We got to review.
We do have one more thing. We have one more thing, though.
What's up?
It is the off-season time.
Okay.
I think it's time we bring something back.
Oh, boy.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Choose your fighter?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm guessing you have one, because I obviously don't.
Have one.
Okay.
I have one lined up. I think it's good to bring it back.
Yeah.
So this stems from a discussion. I don't know if this was on the pod or after the pod or whatever we did from Game 7. If you were fully equipped, like you had all necessary equipment to live, to survive, would you rather spend 2 hours in the ocean or 2 hours in space?
What? So do I have a boat if I'm in the ocean and a spaceship if I'm in space, or am I just floating?
No, like you're floating. But you have all the necessary equipment, so you will float. Don't worry about it.
So I have a spacesuit in one scenario, and I have water wings, floaties in another scenario.
Yes.
Well, so I need one more clarification question. I think it's easy. Do I assume that I will be rescued eventually in both?
Yes.
So like someone's just like Elon Musk is going to pull up and go, owning the libs, and then pick me up, or a boat's going to come up and easily space.
Thank you.
Easily space.
Yeah, space for sure. The ocean scares me a lot.
A rogue wave, a shark, a jellyfish. Like there's so many things that could take you out in the ocean. In space, if I don't get hit by a meteor, I'm probably good.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be boring. Yeah. You might just go crazy because you're just like chilling.
There's no immediate threat to your life in space. Like if you're just in open space.
I guess it depends what, like it depends what like am I in low Earth orbit?
I don't know.
Because like there is a concern about meteors or getting pulled toward the sun.
You're not going to get pulled towards the sun. You're just going to be in free orbit. You're going to be like at the height of like the space station.
Oh yeah, then I think it's an easy call.
Yeah,
honestly,
space,
I think if you take ocean, you're just unaware of what's in the ocean, which we all are because
most people are.
Yeah, we don't know.
I hate the ocean. I hate the ocean. Okay, thank you for agreeing with me. Space for sure. So next time it's on you. Choose your fighter.
I'll be ready.
Okay. You said we have a review?
We do. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts from Jack So25 Film. Headline of the review, Rohan's voice.
Oh God.
Don't worry. See, this review is a cautionary tale because Jack So25 said, very good and heartfelt. I would like to hear more singing from Rohan, but he didn't specify anything. So I can't make you sing. There's no request. If you want Rohan to sing, you've got to type out like a song review.
No, I feel like I should do it anyway.
Are you just going to sing his review?
No. What should I say?
Well, I don't know. I feel like you should have to specify.
I feel like
what you want him to sing.
Ty, I'm going to appreciate the review, and I'm going to do what the review says.
Well, I appreciate the review. Okay, well. I fought for you here.
You did. Let me see. What have I said people call me? I've said the Indian Justin Bieber before. What have I said?
That one's notorious.
Let's search through my tweets here. The Indian Liam Payne. Oh boy.
Oh.
What's a Liam Payne song?
You gonna strip that down?
Sure. What are the lyrics to this song?
This is going to be the only YouTube ever where the views go up. It's going to be like a steady views and then spike at the very end.
Okay. I'll just thank you, Jackson, for the review. Appreciate you. Let's see. How does this go? You know I love it when the music's loud, but come on, strip that down for me. baby. Now there's a lot of people in the crowd, but only you can dance with me. So put your hands on my body and swing that round for me, baby. You know I love it when the music's loud, but come on, strip that down for me. Yeah, 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 yeah. There we
That
go.
was good. Did you like?
Thank
I
you.
can't snap. Did you like me trying to snap? And
I
give you a
did. I
little-
did like
yeah,
that a lot.
I thought that was helpful. That was good.
Thank you. Make sure you leave a 5-star review wherever you can. 5-star rating and review, 5 stars. We'll read it, obviously. Make sure you're subscribed on your podcast platform of choice. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Leave a like and make sure you have notifications turned on if you're on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, thank you for listening. Check out gspnstore.com for all the best merch. Pod Random, and we will talk to you next time.